This week on the Analog Circle podcast, Super Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild get VR support. The next Assassin's Creed could have us playing in a Viking time period. Could there be a Marvel vs. DC in the works? And could we get another Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation 4? All of these stories and quite a bit more in episode 96 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and as always, I want to welcome you guys to another episode. Now, guys, you know how I like to start the show, and before I start the show, I'm sure you guys have heard the music in the background. Yes, there will be another giveaway this week, and this week we'll be giving away a $25 Xbox gift card. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming up just a little later in the show. But guys, you know how I like to start the podcast, man. I like to start it off with what I have been into. And quite honestly, man, I just finished up Sleeping Dogs. I was about to say Watch Dogs. Sleeping Dogs, and I have to say the game was fantastic. I was able to complete it over the weekend. It was great. It wasn't even the weekend. It was earlier in the week. It was fantastic. I thought it was a great game. I actually streamed it over on YouTube, so go over there, check it out. It's the ending and, the lead up to the ending. It was a fantastic game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But outside of that, I hadn't been into too much more, so at least gaming related. But with that being said, guys, I want to get into my favorite section of the podcast, and that is the feedback section. So without further ado, Mr. Cody Clark. Man, oh man, this brother comes through. He has sent yet another email this week, and the title of his email is Level 35 Public Institution +1 to Pop Culture. Now, this is his response to last week's question when I was asking you guys, could we be facing another gaming crash? Now, this was his response, so here it is. He says the game crash of 83, 84, and 85. It was a heck of a thing. People realizing that computers could be both productivity machines and game machines. Every manufacturer under the sun trying to get in on that home arcade action. Even game companies trying to get Congress to replace the dollar bill with a dollar coin for coin-op arcade machines. And they still failed and had this crazy thing happen. But then again, we had quote unquote financial crisis in 2008. And the games industry grew. Sure, you could go out and spend money on a movie and dinner, or you could buy a game and get many more hours of value. Now, everybody with a quote-unquote .com at the end seems to have the hots for streaming system or whatever. But death of the or another game crash. I doubt it. 9/11 didn't stop gaming. 2008 didn't stop gaming. Trolls saying drama was about reporting ethics and not harassing women didn't stop gaming. Epic deciding to go toe to toe with Steam, and I love it, won't stop gaming. In 84, it was a $4 billion industry. It's a $184 billion now. We can stumble. We have to hit a wall and fall over. If we aren't aware of where the floor is, the ceiling and the sky are irrelevant. We will smash our thumbs and stump our toes, but gaming is integrated into society now. Cody Clark, brother, I want to thank you for this great email. Very, very great points were brought out here, brother, from back then in 83, 84, 85, when the gaming industry was around 4 billion. And now today, as you pointed out, and I did not know it was that high, is $184 billion now. So like you said, gaming, it is definitely in the culture. It's no longer a niche thing like it was back in the early to mid 80s, and even I would say the 90s. It is something that's out there. Many people know about it. It's ingrained. It's on our phones. It's on our tablets. It's on our TVs, depending on how you choose to game. It could possibly, not even possibly, it's on the go with the Switch. So this newer generation, and even a younger generation, much younger than me, of course, is growing up in this culture where gaming is the in thing. Some of the biggest streamers, or I shouldn't say biggest streamers, but some of the biggest names have gaming attached to their name. So it's not like it was back in the day when I was gaming and I would pop out with a gaming magazine, an EGM, and people would be like, come on, man, what you doing with that old phony old magazine? You too old to be gaming. Look at this. You 13 years old and you still playing games? I'm like, yeah. I want to see what's going on, god dog it, man. Just leave me alone. Oh man, you're a weirdo. They used to call me a weirdo because I loved gaming, man. So it was not the end thing back in the 80s and the 90s. But like I said, now it is definitely the biggest market of entertainment out there. Many people play and they are into the culture. So you have a very good point, Cody. It is a big possibility that even though all of these, and as you said, and I quote, all of these companies with a .com at the end are dying to get into this streaming space, you know, it is true, but maybe I'll say this, Cody. I don't think the gaming industry will completely crash. My only fear is, Cody, is that so many people getting in. When I heard Walmart was trying to get into the streaming game, I'm like, oh man, oh, this is just a free fall right now. You know, I'm not so much worried about, like I said, I'm not worried about Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. I'm really not. I think they'll be fine. But I'm just worried about these other companies that are coming in. I mean, you have Apple that's trying to get into the mix. I think theirs are going to be a little smaller titles. But nonetheless, I just fear that it's going to be a flood of games that are going to come on the market, and it could take away the quality of what gaming is. And don't get me wrong, I understand right now on the phone, on Steam, many different outlets, there are terrible games and gaming is still doing fine and it's thriving. But when you get to the point where everybody is trying to get in on the mix, I just fear that the quality is gonna go downhill. But that's yet to be seen. But nonetheless, Cody, I truly appreciate this email, brother. I thank you so much for it, and I just enjoy these. Now, I want to let you guys know, Cody actually sent in one more email, and I definitely want to read this because I'm going to tell you guys now, it's not going to be a very, very long show. This one is going to be a little shorter. So, Cody, I'm going to go ahead and get into your second email, brother. Now, this email, the title of this is Gamers Angry for Anger's Sake, or All's Fair in Clickbait. Brother, you are a poet. I see the way you made that rhyme, brother. MC doggone Cody in the house, man. Now, he continues to say, Goose and I were having a conversation about games, reviewers, journalists, personalities, etc., and about just how they seem to approach some kinds of stories, games, reviews, topics, and the like. For quite a while, I had been a fan of Jim Sterling and Angry Joe. They are both non-affiliates, as in they don't get sponsored by game makers for a lot of stuff. Granted, Joe does get flown around, so some studios can show off games or early builds or do whatever. But unlike GameSpot or IGN or Giant Bomb, they don't earn any scratch from the game companies. Still, they do seem to get right upset about some games. Sometimes I can see where they come from. Watching what happened with Jim Sterling's take on Ultima Forever and Dungeon Keeper Online was kind of vindicating after my time at Mythic. Though Jim's continual take saying the Xbox One is quote unquote a bit toss continues to befuddle me. Angry Joe's 1 month later video of Anthem is another. It's just full of anger and mean-spirited comments. Say what you will about EA's corporate overlord mentality, the game is hardly unplayable. Sure, stuff breaks in it, but they heap praise after praise on Division 2 after the train wreck that was the first game and ignore crazy bugs like the mods you put on your gun having, and he put literally in quotes, see accuracy and suspension mods, no effect. I get being passionate for passionate's sake, like that is to be human. But to just throw anger and rage at a game? Most games have an audience that plays them. They aren't all the size of Fortnite or World of Warcraft or, I don't know, PUBG. They all have flaws. They can't be perfect because gamers aren't a homogeneous hive mind. I just get so depressed and disenchanted watching some of these personalities going nuclear on anything that isn't the best thing ever. It feels like it takes the wind of excitement from my sails. Sometimes I just don't want to listen to media about games or movies or comics or whatever because I feel ashamed to like what I like. Blah. I'm glad people like you and the crew at Game Enthuse don't go into that well. I appreciate that, Cody. He continues to say, matter of fact, shout out to Game Enthuse, by the way. But he continues to say, sure, you can egg people on, but at least you give people the benefit of the doubt and remind us that we are allowed to like what we like when we like it whenever we want. Listen, Cody, this one is a good one. I mean, all of your emails I thoroughly enjoy, but this one right here, brother, definitely strikes a chord. I mean, a core chord with me, brother. I want to tell you, man, I have wondered for quite some time, why are gamers so upset about the games that come out, man? I mean, if you think about it, it seems like right now, if a game does not score a 9 or a 10, it is garbage. Everybody jumps on it and says, oh, it's not that good. Like a 8 is bad, but a 7.5 is horrible. It's unplayable. I can't believe this is what they served us. Now, this is the thing, Cody. I have been down a little bit on Microsoft. Yes, I have been upset with them because I think they could do better. I think they could give their players a lot better experiences, and I think they've kind of fell a little short. But nonetheless, you are right, Cody. Everybody has a right to like what they like. If you like Sea of Thieves, then that is fine. If you like State of Decay 2, you should be allowed to like what you like. Guess what? Nobody else is paying for the game for you. Why can't you enjoy what you enjoy, indulge in what you want to indulge in, and absolutely play the console that you want to play? Because like you said, Jim Sterling, he has been on a tirade about Xbox and saying how bad it is and this, that, and the third. Now, granted, everybody says Xbox has no games and, you know, they don't have exclusives. That's basically what they're saying. But nonetheless, you can play Red Dead Redemption 2 on an Xbox. You can play Anthem on an Xbox. You can play so many AAA titles that have come out on Xbox, minus just a few that are PlayStation and Nintendo exclusives. So when you talk about this, Cody, about this fake rage, and I think that's what it is. It's just fake rage to me. I mean, yes, they get mad and upset, but I think sometimes this stuff is for the clicks, it's for the views, and I just don't really believe it. Because if you come from the era that I come from, and you too, Cody, where games were really literally broken. I mean, you want to talk about broke games and games that are just non-functional. You go back to the 80s and to the 90s and you try some of those games out. As a matter of fact, you can try out a few of those. Go ahead and try out Battletoads on the Rare Replay and tell me and imagine playing that same game on an original Nintendo with no rewind button. You tell me how bad a game is. You go play that and tell me that that's okay. You go back and play the original Ninja Gaiden on the Nintendo Entertainment System and tell me that that game was not glitched and broken. That's why I don't understand. I can understand, look, you like what you like, you dislike what you dislike, but to be so overly critical of some of these games that release, I just don't get it. So Cody, I'm not going to last too long on this one, brother, because I know I got to move the podcast along, but I definitely agree with you wholeheartedly, man. And, like what you like and forget what other people say. Cause guess what, brother? They are not buying the game for you, man. Cody, as always, I appreciate this email, brother. This was fantastic and I can't thank you enough, brother. So with that being said, guys, man, oh man, let's go ahead and get into the gaming news that went down this week. Let's start it off with some Nintendo news. Now, this is coming way of Best Buy's internal Core Blue employee system. Now, the first possible leak came from the Twitter user Mystic Distance, who spotted a listing for Persona 5 coming to the Switch, and he also went as far as posting photos of the info. Then it wasn't long after another Twitter user who goes by the name Wario64, very, very nice name, by the way, he found two more listings that included The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and Metroid Prime Trilogy, both allegedly coming to the Switch. Now, once again, Nintendo has not confirmed any of this, so take it with a mustard seed of truth. Though I will say, the photos did look pretty legit, though. Now, I mean, if you go to these guys' pages, not their pages, but their Twitter profile, check out these pictures. They look serious. Now, I understand Photoshop is a real thing, people. I get it. People make mock-ups and things all the time. But if you look at it, man, this thing looks pretty spot on. And I'll say that Persona 5, I don't think that's a really big stretch, because if you think about it, who is it? The DLC character, Joker from Persona 5 is supposed to be a character on Super Smash Brothers sometime later on this month or whenever he's coming out. So I think that it's a possibility. Once again, still take it with a grain of salt. But as far as Zelda goes, we know that it's a studio that's allegedly working on another Zelda. I mean, maybe this is a remake of the one from the Super Nintendo era. Who knows? That could be possible. Or this may just be coming to the classic, and not the classic, but the online feature, one of the new games that may be available soon. I'm all botched up right now. But as far as Metroid goes, that would be awesome, because we haven't heard anything in quite a while about the Metroid game that's allegedly in the works right now. So this would be a great segue for people to get very excited about the upcoming Metroid if they release this trilogy, and possibly maybe this is something they could do at E3. Nintendo will be having the Direct, and then they say, oh, here's some new images, or I guess some new gameplay of the new Metroid game. And by the way, if you want to relive some of the old magic of Metroid, here's the trilogy being released on the Switch. I mean, maybe that's something they could do. 2. Who knows what's going to happen with this for the time being? Once again, this is all rumor and speculation until Nintendo comes out and says otherwise. But moving on into some more Nintendo news. Yeah, they was on one this week, brother. Now, it looks like 2 of Nintendo's biggest franchises are getting Nintendo Labo VR kit support. Now, these are both Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Super Mario Odyssey. They will be getting free Labo VR software updates on April 25th, 2019. Now, if you were wondering when Labo is going to release, it will release on April 12th for $39.99, just a couple of days from now. Wow. And I tell you, this is great. Now, I don't know how good the VR, the Labo VR is going to be. I'm sure it's not going to be on the levels of a PlayStation VR, and definitely not a HTC Vive, not even close, because for $40, you're going to get what you're going to get. You might get something that could be likened to maybe, back in the day. Y'all remember that joint called the Viewmaster? Oh man, that joint was serious back then, man. I felt like I was in Rome back then having them little slides. So it may be something more so on the lines of like the Viewmaster, or something that's not gonna be, I know it's not gonna be that great, but you never know. It might be a heck of an effect when you put it on. And I will say, just to let you guys know, if you're wondering about the Labo, the only downside to this is you're gonna have to hold the controllers and the Labo VR up to your face the whole time. It doesn't have a strap, a strap that goes around your head or anything like that. So if you plan on playing Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, or Mario Odyssey, get ready to have a heck of an arm workout, because you're gonna have to hold the Labo up there. But nonetheless, I think this is great. I love that Nintendo is implementing this into their games, their AAA games. And you never know. This trend may continue on into some of their newer titles, as well as maybe some older titles that have already been released. So we'll have to wait and see. But nonetheless, this is pretty good news. Moving on into now this is interesting. Some very interesting Xbox news. Now, according to a Twitter user who goes by the name of HOX, I don't know if that means hoaxed or whatever, but he revealed that Microsoft is planning on launching a new Game Pass subscription that's allegedly called Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, which will combine Xbox Game Pass and Xbox Live Gold into a single monthly charge, and claims the service will be priced at $14.99 per month. Now, an outlet called The Verge thinks this service will be unveiled along with the new discless Xbox One. Now, quite honestly, this is the thing. You don't really save any money over the year by doing this. See, this is the thing. I thought at first, hey, $15 a month. My goodness, Xbox is doing it. They are doing fantastic. This is awesome. I know the savings is going to be pretty big. It has to be. But then I did the math on this because I was curious. Now, we know that Game Pass is $9.99 a month. Very well spent money, by the way. The service, it's excellent. You can't deny the value for the price. Now, that's $9.99 a month. Then you pay for a year of Xbox Live, which is $59.99. Now, when you roll that all up together, you're paying $179.88. So I was like, oh man, bet. Okay. Now let's see how much $15 a month would be times 12. And would you believe that it comes out to $179.88. So what Microsoft is doing, marketing is amazing. Okay. It is absolutely fantastic here. What Microsoft is doing is they're initially making the barrier to entry lower. How many people have $60 just to put on Xbox Live? I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. Just to blow $60 for a year of Xbox Live up front, that can be kind of aggressive. How many people have $9.99 a month to jump on top? Well, not to jump on, but to go on top of that $59.99. You've spent $70 for just a year and a month of doggone Xbox Live Gold and the Game Pass. But what I do like that Microsoft is doing here is they're making it one flat fee. That's if this is true. They're charging you $15 a month for, 12 months, which is going to come out to the same thing, but ultimately it is cheaper. The upfront cost is where you save. So to me, that's a much better, it's the same deal, but it just sounds better. You know what I mean? It just sounds much better to put it in that context where, hey, $15 a month, I have Xbox Live Gold and I have Game Pass. Now, this works out even better for people who just want to get online and maybe play. Let's say Gears 5 comes out. And once that comes out, a person knows that they don't want the Game Pass for the entire year. But let's say at that same time, just by chance, their Xbox Live Gold runs out. And they're like, dag, I really want to play Gears of War 5, but I don't want to buy the game. I don't want to subscribe to Xbox Game Pass. And my Xbox Live Gold has run out. What can I do? Well, for $15, you can get both services, play the game for a month, and drop it just like that. And you've been able to play online. You've been able to experience more games outside of Gears of War 5 if you want to. And it's not really that big of a cost. $15 and you're set. I think this is fantastic. I think this is a great move on Microsoft's part if this is true. And I think that with them possibly releasing this alongside the new discless Xbox One, it will bring quite a bit more value to that console because you're not going to be picking up physical media. It's all going to be digital. And with the Game Pass, my goodness, 100 plus games. Wow. It's a great deal. So, yeah, it's not too much more I can really say about this, but I do hope this is true. Moving on into the next story now. In PlayStation news, the foot-controlled VR peripheral called 3D Rudder has been delayed until June 17th. Now, the price will be $119. Now, if you're not aware of what this device is, it's a motion controller where you control the character with your feet, which is a good thing because it'll free up your hands to do other tasks. Now, the device will also be compatible with 25 PlayStation VR games. This is something that is very, very interesting to me. When I saw this, I had no idea that this was a thing, the 3D Rudder. Now, I will say I do not think that Sony is actually manufacturing this. I think this is a third party. But nonetheless, how cool would it be to sit there and move your character around in VR with your feet? Could that really enhance the immersion? And then your hands are just completely free to do what you got to do as far as like the movements go. I think this is fantastic. I can't wait to see how well this does. And the fact that it's 25 PlayStation VR games that are compatible with it, this shows that Sony is in this VR thing for the long haul. They have stuck with VR much longer than I ever anticipated for them to. I thought that if the sales didn't pick up in the first year or so, they were going to drop it. Now, granted, sales are not fantastic considering the user base that they have, how big it is, but I believe they've sold, what is it? I don't want to say the wrong number, but it's between 2 and 4 million units that they have sold so far. So it has been a success in its own right. but nonetheless, I really believe that this should be celebrated, and I can't wait to hear the reviews of this 3D rudder. So moving on into the next story, and my goodness, it is a big one. Let's talk about Assassin's Creed. Now, it looks like theories have already started about where the next setting will be in the franchise. And according to YouTuber Jor Raptor, he noticed a lot of Viking posters in the Division 2's Potomac Event Center, where it appeared to be a Norse god holding what appears to be a apple of Eden. Also, as a cross-reference, Kotaku confirmed from two separate sources that are familiar with the game, which is codenamed Kingdom and scheduled for a 2020 release. They say it will star Vikings. So could the next Assassin's Creed be based on Norse mythology? I mean, of course, none of this has been confirmed by Ubisoft, so take this with a mustard seed of truth. Now, if this is true, this could mean the game would take place between 100 and 400 years prior to the first game. This would be so interesting. And I have to say, Cory Barlog, he actually went on Twitter. Now, I can't remember the whole quote, but he said something to the effect of, could this be a crossover? I don't know what that means. I highly doubt that we'll see Kratos in an Assassin's Creed. I don't even think he would even match there in that kind of world. But nonetheless, I think this is really, really interesting. Being able to play as a Viking, how would that even fit into the Assassin's Creed lore? I don't know. And when I thought about it, it really got me to thinking about what Cory Barlog, he had said about God of War. He said that they had initially thought about putting the game in a Egypt setting, but come to find out, of course, Assassin's Creed Origins was set in that same world. He said it was just kind of funny how things set up, and, you know, he kind of veered off and did his own thing, but nonetheless, that was an option that was on the table. So who knows if this is going to be true or not. This is very interesting news, and I can't wait to hear more. How cool would it be? I know a lot of people are Assassin's Creeded out. I understand it 100%, but the last two have been really, really well done. How cool would it be? And would you even be excited to even see this in this setting for the next Assassin's Creed? I mean, is this something you would want to play as a Viking? I don't know. I'm rambling right now, but we're going to move on into the next story. Now, this next story is more loose talk rather than reality, but Ed Boon was doing an interview with Game Informer, where towards the end of the interview, he was asked, has he ever talked to Marvel? And Boone answered by saying, and I quote, I did, but I probably shouldn't talk about it. After that, he was then asked if he would want to make a Marvel fighting game, where he replied, and I quote, oh God, yes. We would love to make like a Marvel fighting game or Marvel versus DC. I think it would be the coolest. End of quote. So, with that being said, man, now I know this is just a pipe dream. I know this probably will never ever happen. But how amazing would it be to have a Marvel versus DC game? How phenomenal would that be? Batman versus Spider-Man, Aquaman versus Flash. I don't know. This would be fantastic. Like I said, who knows? This is loose talk. Nothing is confirmed. Nobody knows what's happening behind the scenes, but I mean, what a crossover. I mean, we've seen Marvel versus Capcom, Capcom versus SNK. Then we know that Ed Boon and his team worked on the DC Universe game, which was fantastic, the fighting game. I mean, this could be phenomenal if this happened. How amazing would it be to have those two worlds, those two universes, I was such bad grammar, universes. I mean, these worlds just clash together and fighting with some of your favorite superheroes that you probably would never see fight each other anywhere else. Oh, it would be crazy. I mean, I guess it would almost be like, you guys remember that movie, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? This was years ago, where you had the Looney Tunes and you had, the Disney characters that were all in the same film. And it was such a cluster of rules and regulations. And this character had to be on the screen just as long as Bugs Bunny. And this character had to be on as long as Mickey Mouse. It was so many rules that they had to follow. But I'm thinking with a game, maybe they don't have to follow the same rules, especially in a fighting game. You guys are gonna have the characters on the screen for the same amount of time. You're gonna have a chance to beat each other up, and the best person wins. This could be crazy for a tournament, but right now, I'm talking in the what ifs, but hopefully Ed Boon, he knows something that we don't, and maybe in the future, we will get something like this. It would be crazy. Moving on to the next story. Now let's talk about, let's talk about PC for a moment. Now it appears that Borderlands 2 has been review bombed from April 3rd to the 6th because Borderlands 3 is being exclusive to the Epic Store for 6 months. And according to the Steam database, it's the first game to make use of the off-topic reviews marking. Now, this means that over 4,000 reviews have been excluded from the rating calculation. Now, this is so interesting to me. Oh, you PC guys, you. Man, I have read articles. I have looked on YouTube. I listened to many podcasts. And I have heard PC players yell from the rooftops how great it is to be on PC. We don't do what you console peasants do. We don't care about exclusives. We don't have to worry about that. PC is the best place to game at. And guess why we don't have to worry about exclusives? Because we wouldn't put up with any of the things that you console guys do. It seems like to me, brother, you guys are quite salty over there right now on the PC. You guys are in turmoil right now. Mad at Epic because Epic is buying up, not even buying up, but they're just cutting these deals for these exclusives that you can't get on your precious Steam. Oh man, it's killing y'all. I've heard these guys get so mad. I mean, you review bombed a game that had great reviews up until this time period, and you guys act like you're just so much better than console players, and you don't have to deal with the things that we deal with because you guys are just so amazing over there, when the whole time since Epic has made themselves known, now you guys are crying the blues. I don't get it. I understand that, everybody has an allegiance to something, but come on. All you gotta do is download the doggone Epic Store. I don't even think it costs anything to do it. I don't see what the big deal is, but nonetheless, why you crying so much, man? Get over it. Hey, look, Steam has been taking 30% and all of this and that. Times are changing. They got competition. What is Steam gonna do? Don't get mad at Epic. Get mad at Steam. They have been holding down the PC market for years, and all of a sudden they get some real stiff competition and you guys are getting upset. Don't get upset. Embrace it. Now, I'm not saying all PC gamers are feeling this way, but my goodness, quite a few are. I say embrace it. This is great for gaming on the PC because now it's competition. Steam has to step up. They have to give you guys a reason to stick around. And if they don't, then deuce on them. Say deuces, put your fingers up and move on. But anyway, I'm done with the rant. Let's move on into the next story. Now, this is a quick one. It looks like Persona 5 is $19.99 permanently because it is now part of the greatest hits collection. Shucks, man, for $20? $20? I just might have to pick this up myself. I haven't really played an RPG, Eastern RPG in forever. But for $20, I say, why not, man? I spend that on a meal at TGI's out this mother lover. But anyway, moving on from there. Now, continuing on into some more Ubisoft, news. It looks like, this is Watch Dogs 3. Watch Dogs 3 news. It looks like the setting of the game will be in London, according to Kotaku. Now, this has not been confirmed by Ubisoft, but because of it's not a new patch. This patch came out about 2 years ago, but because of this patch for Watch Dogs 2, it dropped a big clue where the dialogue is being exchanged. It shows coordinates that when you punch it into Google Maps, it leads to this place called Brixton area in London. Now, this is actually an old story. I mean, I think you guys probably heard about this maybe 2 years ago. But the reason why this is resurfaced is because, of course, E3 is coming up in just a few short months, and people are guessing and hoping that the new Watch Dogs is going to be there. I mean, it's been about roughly 3 years since we've seen Watch Dogs. And I have to say, I didn't play the first Watch Dogs, but I did play the second one, and I loved it. I loved the character Marcus. I loved his team. I loved the story. I mean, the story was a little iffy, but who cares? The story was okay, but I just enjoyed the open world. Graphically, it was great. Gameplay was fantastic. I loved the fact that Ubisoft had a brother on the front line as the lead character. That was amazing. And he wasn't the stereotypical black character. I appreciated that. You know, he was into geek culture. He knew how to hack. It was fantastic. I loved that game. I know a lot of people didn't, but I'm talking about me right now. It was great for me. So it made me very excited to see what they could do with a Watch Dogs 3. And, I'm very excited to see what could happen. This would be great to see at E3, and I'm rambling right now because I lost my train of thought. But anyway, moving on into the next story. Now, this is interesting. I mean, good grief. You guys may remember, a few weeks ago, Colin Moriarty was saying it was a pretty big PlayStation 4 game being worked on. Well, we might have gotten more details on what it might be. Now, on Knockback, episode 59, Colin talked about Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation 2, but he also talked about Ratchet and Clank. He said, hold on, let me just read the quote. He said, okay. This is what he said. Basically, and you haven't seen the last of Ratchet and Clank on PlayStation 4. Now, I botched the heck out of this. This is something I do every darn week. I've been doing this thing darn near 3 years and I'm still messing up. I want to run this back, man. All right, let me be more professional here. Let's run this back. All right, now, a few weeks ago, Colin Moriarty was saying it was a pretty big PlayStation 4 game being worked on. And, man, forget it. You already said it, man. Ratchet and Clank could be coming back on the PlayStation 4, according to this guy. He's saying you haven't seen the last of it on the PlayStation 4. Could this be the ace in the hole that Sony has? I'ma tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. I gave that game a perfect score. That game was phenomenal. It was $40 when it came out. Graphically, it was so close to Pixar level. Whoa, it was amazing. And this was a couple of years ago that this came out. So I can only imagine what Insomniac would be able to do with that hardware now. Now that they've had Spider-Man release, they've had even more experience on the platform. Oh my gosh, it would be crazy. The weapons were amazing. Gameplay was great. The story was funny. The voice acting was top notch. That game was a perfect 10. That was the very first Ratchet and Clank I had ever played. I never played a Ratchet and Clank until then, and I am a fan. I'm a lifetime fan. I really am hoping that this story is true, because I would love to get another Ratchet and Clank on the PlayStation 4. Man, that would be amazing. But let's move on to the next story. Now, this is actually the last story this week, and this is a humdinger. God darn. We're going back into the PC realm. Now, this story, we really have to take this with a huge, gigantic mustard seed of truth. Now, it's a rumor that Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't just coming to PC, but will be an Epic Store exclusive. Mind blown. Oh my gosh. Now, it's alleged that the announcement will happen on April 22nd at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Red Dead Redemption 2 will release on the Epic Store on July 9th. It's also being reported that the reason why Take-Two Interactive have agreed to this deal, well, this exclusive deal, is because any additional content that they put out for Red Dead Redemption 2, Take-Two would receive 100% of the profits versus Steam, who would take, and you guessed it, a 30% cut. Now, once again, this is coming from a person by the name of 4chan, which is spelled with the number 4 and Chan, C-H-A-N, who is an anonymous leaker. So this may not be true. And once again, I want you guys to take this with a mustard seed of truth. But how amazing would this be if Epic comes out there and says, look, Take-Two, Rockstar, we need y'all. We are trying to build up our roster with nothing but triple A games. We're trying to have more triple A's than doubles and single A's. We want to put y'all on to make it more sweet. We'll make sure that any additional content you bring to our platform, that's all you, baby. You ain't even got to give us a cut. It's yours. That's amazing incentive. Now, like I said, if is it true? I don't know. This would be amazing if it's true. I sure hope it is, because I'm all about competition. No, I don't really care about the console wars. The only reason why I do care about that is, once again, it's competition. I buy them all, but I want to see them all perform at a high level. Right now, Epic is performing at a high level versus Steam, and I'm not a PC gamer. I doubt if I'll ever be a PC gamer. It's really not my thing. But looking at this from a distance, this is what competition is. This is what breeds greatness in the gaming space. When you have someone that is coming for your entire neck, your jugular, they want everything. They're trying to wipe you out and make you not even a reason to even go visit. They want to just annihilate you. This is beautiful. This is fantastic. And I hope I sincerely hope that Microsoft does this next generation, because this generation is over. This is it. Sony has killed everybody this doggone generation cycle. They're up to 90 million consoles sold? My gosh! They have just been going on 5 years on the market, and they have been able to establish that many consoles sold. That is unbelievable numbers. And that's what exclusives do. That's what exclusive deals do. They make you they elevate you to a whole nother level. And I mean, not just exclusives. I'm talking AAA top-notch exclusives. I don't care if you're an Xbox fan. I don't care if you're a Nintendo fan. It is no doubt that a real gamer, a person that's really out here in these gaming streets, really getting it in, putting in work, could ever say that Sony did not perform at an amazing level this generation. You can rattle off so many AAAs that have come out versus the competition. And I just hope that this continues into next generation and Microsoft wakes up and gets it together. It's a rumor. I didn't write this down because this is just astronomical. The numbers that are associated with it, but it's some I think it comes out of a German outlet that is saying that the next Halo, Halo 6 or whatever they're going to call it, that game is supposed to, now this is alleged, this has not been confirmed, but it's supposed to have a $500 million doggone budget. $500 million. Red Dead Redemption 2 didn't even cost that much. I think it was estimated Red Dead might have cost about $300 million. So if they're talking about $500 million, that is far surpassing what not Rockstar, but Take-Two, what they put into Red Dead Redemption 2. Once again, it's a rumor. Nobody knows if it's true or not. But if it is, that's amazing. But getting back on point, we'll see if this is true or not. April is coming up we're in April, but I mean, April 22nd is coming up very soon. If we hear something there, we'll know this guy was legit. If not, we know it was fake. But nonetheless, that is the end of the gaming news this week. But stay tuned, guys, because we're not finished yet. We'll be right back after this week's video game theater. Stay tuned, guys.
Open up on 7. Move it out, Shiv.
Oh yeah. Hero, huh?
Identifying prisoner 117, Shiv, Helix.
You think you can break me, copper? Yeah, I've been in the darkest pits in the universe. Places that would make your bolts rattle. The eternity pits of Sword Doom. The iron holding no balance. Nah.
Greetings, new fish. I'm
Captain Quark. I don't believe it. You're here. I used to dream of being arrested by you.
Now get out of here. I was talking to you, Zed.
Yes, Captain.
So, new fish, I take it you followed my many, many adventures?
Of course I have. You're the most famous superhero in the galaxy.
He ain't famous anymore.
Words hurt, Solitary Bill.
I'm a huge fan. I even pre-ordered the new Ratchet and Clank Holo game.
The what?
You know, the game based on that incident with you and that Lombax.
Oh, you must mean the holo film. Yeah, it's pretty good, if you like all CG.
No, I mean the game. It's based on the holo film. Look, here's my confirmation email. I'm having it mag shipped to prison.
They're making a game based on a holo film based on my life? But they haven't even consulted me. Oh, this is my fault. I've been away from my adoring public in this forsaken place too long. And now, No one will ever hear my side.
I'd like to hear your side, Captain.
You would? Well, then sit down, wary criminal, and I'll tell you a story. It all started with a hapless lombax named Rachet.
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back. We are in the final section of the podcast. Whoa, wait a minute. Did I read off to you guys the gift card, the $25 Xbox gift card? I don't think I did, man. My mistake. Let me get that real quick. All right, here we go. This is for $25 towards any purchase on the Xbox Live store. So, digital store. So, without further ado, here it is. Get your pens and get your paper ready, because it is the following. The code is GV3364796DCX7X2RRZ. Once again, the code is GV3364796D7X7X2RRZ. Apologize for putting that towards the end of the podcast. It truly slipped my mind. But for anybody that does win and you're able to redeem it, please give me a call or email the show. I just want to shout you out and congratulate you. The email is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. And the phone number, if you want to call in instead, is 443-216-9934. Please, guys, definitely redeem that. I love giving these out. It's just me giving back to the Analog Circle community. I truly thank you guys for rocking out with me every week. It really, really means so much. So with that being said, guys, I want to ask you guys a question this week. And my goodness, I read this and I was not completely shocked, but it did shock me a bit. Now, GameStop has been in the news this week, and it's because they have lost $673 million, which is, I mean, it's not $1 billion, but it's over half towards $1 billion. I have to say, man, after reading this and seeing that the big digital push that Microsoft is doing with their Game Pass subscription, with Sony taking their digital game codes out of GameStop, I just have to ask you guys, how much longer does GameStop have? I mean, like I said, I really don't have anything against GameStop per se, because I understand it's a business and it is the employee's job, unfortunately, to push as many pre-orders as they can on you, push as many sales of different games on you. I understand. The thing that I do not like, and I haven't shopped at GameStop for a game for quite some time, the thing that I didn't like when I would shop at GameStop was a brand new game wouldn't have the plastic on it. They would just give it to you out of the drawer and be like, here, it's brand new. And I'm like, nah, man, this ain't brand new. It ain't got no plastic on it. What's going on? So I didn't like that about them. But nonetheless, I'm just curious to know, how much longer do you guys think they have? Do they have maybe 2-3 years left? Do they have 10 years left? Me personally, I'm thinking, if I had to estimate, I should say guesstimate, I would say within the next 5 to 7 years. I don't know if GameStop is going to be around, man. I mean, these digital sales that Microsoft have on their store, that Sony has on theirs. Shoot, on Microsoft Store, you can get Resident Evil right now. Well, not just Microsoft, but PlayStation Store, you can get Resident Evil for $40 right now. And I understand it's $40 in the store, but you gotta drive to the store to get it. $40. Somebody, on a side note, please put that code in and get yourself Resident Evil for like $15. please do that. But outside of that, I would love to get you guys comments on this. Once again, if you want to be a part of the feedback section, answer this, or if you have any personal questions, you can do that once again by calling in at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email address is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Guys, I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. But don't fear, because we will be back next week. But until then, always remember, it is not about the consoles, it's about the games. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.